What's up, Raptors fans? Welcome to the Warriors Report. It's time to talk about the Raptors and the 76ers and what went wrong in game one and what the Raptors need to do in game two in order to get back into this series, but also to highlight whether or not Joel Embiid is a dirty player. I'm going to break all of that down in today's video. So if you're ready to watch this video, make sure to hit the like button. If you want to hit the subscribe button, that'd be awesome as well. And also, guys, I did announce this in my last few videos. For those who may have missed that, I am going to be doing a giveaway for Raptors fans. Here are 3 giveaways, including a Pascal Siakam jersey giveaway, a championship replica ring, as well as a Raptors t-shirt as well. So all you need to do to enter that contest, make sure to subscribe to my channel, make sure your subscription is public, and just comment down below of when you became a Raptors fan and what made you become a Raptors fan. If you have already done these in the previous videos, you don't need to do it again. You already entered into the contest, and the winners will be announced April 28th. So with that being said, let's get into today's video. Now, as you guys know, I do like to give out shout outs on my channel. And for today's video, the shout out goes out to John Jakelik. So John, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Feel likes and comments. It is very much appreciated. Now let's talk about Joel Embiid, who definitely played a lot more physical than we're used to seeing him. Now, the first thing I do want to say, guys, there are obviously some plays in yesterday's game where we saw Joel Embiid just be extra physical and not get called. Obviously, he did get called for whatever he was trying to do with Scottie Barnes' face, where he put his hand on his face. He did get a flagrant one for that. But in terms of some of the other players, there's a lot of Raptors fans calling for Joel Embiid being a dirty player because he injured Scottie Barnes. Now, we have to have an honest and real take about this, guys, because when we talk about the NBA, modern NBA, we call it soft because the referees call a lot of fouls and players don't play as physical as they used to. But when players do play physical, we call them dirty. Now, obviously, the one on the Scottie Barnes, which was very unfortunate for Scottie Barnes, was not dirty at all. Scottie Barnes was coming towards Joel Embiid to kind of double him, and then Joel Embiid kind of was trying to spin out of that double team, and he accidentally stepped on Scottie Barnes' ankle again. It's very unfortunate, and hopefully speedy recovery to Scottie Barnes as well. But I just think he was playing a lot more physical, and obviously he should have gotten a few extra foul calls in terms of the referees just not calling any fouls on him because he was running over Raptors players. But I don't think he was dirty. He was playing extra physical, yes. I don't think he's dirty. Obviously, there were some questionable calls regarding Joel Embiid. But let's talk quickly about Scottie Barnes as well. Now, Scottie Barnes was a few assists away from averaging or at least getting a triple-double in his first playoff game. It would have been huge. And again, speedy recovery to Scottie Barnes. He has a sprained ankle. That's what we're being told. They're going to do medical imaging, I believe, tomorrow, imaging and see what the results are. The x-rays came back negative for him and Thaddeus Young as well. But everything that could have gone wrong in game one went wrong for the Raptors. Let's talk about their defense because I mentioned this in my last video. Of course, you got the Joel Embiid, you got the James Harden, but you need to watch out for Tyrese Maxey because I literally just dropped that video yesterday saying he could be one of the more dangerous players and how he is so quick and fast. And the Raptors don't really have anyone outside of Gary Trent Jr. who can really contain, not even contain him, but just stay with him in terms of speed and quickness. And of course, we know Malachi Flynn isn't going to get minutes, but Tyrese Maxey just absolutely liberated the Raptors defense. He went off for almost 40 points. He had 38 points. He was trying to get a basket at the end of the game. Luckily, he did not because that would have been embarrassing. I mean, the Raptors just did a terrible job of guarding Tyrese Maxey, and it just seemed like the Raptors had no energy at all. When we speak of the Raptors defense, the enthusiasm wasn't there. The Raptors, who have out-rebounded the 76ers in each of their matchup during the regular season, got out-rebounded by the 76ers. So again, a lot of the things the Raptors should have been doing, they didn't. And also to talk about Chris Boucher as well. Some of the points I highlighted in my last video, the Raptors did the complete opposite. I mentioned Chris Boucher. We really needed him off the bench and how Chris Boucher can absolutely not take silly fouls. And that is exactly what he did in the first quarter. Now, obviously, some of the calls overall were very questionable. The referees did make some silly calls on Fred VanVleet and Chris Boucher. But there was this one play in particular in that first quarter where Chris Boucher, absolutely no reason to jump out at the three-point shooter, yet he does and gives him 3 free throws, and he picks up his 3rd foul in the process. So it's just really frustrating seeing that from Chris Boucher because in the few minutes he played in that first quarter, he had 5 points, and we didn't see him until late 3rd, early 4th quarter. So again, very unfortunate for Chris Boucher, and of course, Thaddeus Young as well. 2 of our most important bench guys, absolutely. One got in foul trouble, and a very unfortunate case for Thaddeus Young as well. Injured into, I believe it was a thumb strain, they were calling it, 5 minutes into this game, 5 minutes into his playing time. So really unfortunate for some of our bench guys. But I will say this, the Raptors did do a good job on Joel Embiid. They held him to 19 points. He's obviously going to get his rebounds, but he also did shoot about 33% from the field, which is amazing, all things considering. I mean, he's been averaging 30 points every single game he's played in this regular season. And the Raptors defense did do a good job, but they did miss some other guys, Tobias Harris being another one of those guys. Now, I did mention this. The Raptors are notorious for losing game ones. Unfortunately, it happened. I mentioned earlier, they are 5-16 all time in game one. So again, I don't want to make light of that because anytime you go down 0-1, there's a lot of pressure to get that game two. And that's not really a position you want to be in as a Raptors team because you're the lower seed. So if it goes to game 7, you're going to be playing in Philadelphia and their fans are really loud and rowdy. And it's going to be a tough situation to play in. But in terms of what the Raptors need to do the next game, I think just show a little bit more enthusiasm. It's ironic. I know I'm saying this because I wanted the Raptors to move the ball a lot more, but it seemed like that first half of this game, no one really wanted to attack the basket or be aggressive on offense, except for Scottie Barnes. And of course, Scottie Barnes ends up getting injured. But in terms of Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, obviously unfortunate with his foul issues as well. But Pascal Siakam, I think one of them just really needs to set that tone next game and get the 76ers players in foul trouble. But in Pascal Siakam's defense, he did have a good game. But the thing with Pascal Siakam was they were defending him awfully well. What you noticed was Tobias Harris was facing up and Joel Embiid wasn't too far behind him in case he got beat. So anytime Pascal Siakam put the ball to the ground and dribbled, even close to Tobias Harris, Joel Embiid was right there and he was forced to make passes. So the 76ers did play some really good defense, give props to them as well. But I think the Raptors just need to have one guy. Gary Trent Jr. needs to step up. There's some saying maybe he was under the weather, he wasn't feeling well, but the Raptors really need their guys to step up and just really take over in that first quarter just to kind of catch fire, but also just get the 76ers in foul trouble as well. And one other adjustment I would really like the Raptors to see, especially now that maybe Scottie Barnes, we might not see him in the next game, let alone in this series, would be I would really like them to have Yuta Watanabe on Tyrese Maxey. I know it was just a few possessions, but at the end of the game, Yuta Watanabe looked really good because not only does he disrupt Tyrese Maxey because of his size, he's obviously a lot taller than Tyrese Maxey, but he's also quick as well. He's got the length and speed to keep up with Tyrese Maxey. Again, very small sample size, but I still would like to see some minutes of Yuta Watanabe on Tyrese Maxey next game, and he just gives us that much more length if Scottie Barnes isn't in the starting lineup. So I think it'd be awesome to see him, or at some point in the game, just put him on Tyrese Maxey and just give him some minutes. But also, I would just like the Raptors to play with a lot more energy. Just they weren't diving for loose balls. Oftentimes, you saw a rebound and it was bouncing a few times on the floor, and the Raptors just did not have any enthusiasm to go grab that rebound. And ultimately, obviously, the 76ers got the ball and they just had a lot of offensive rebounds as well. And the Raptors' transition game was terrible as well. They just were not running. I think everything we expected the Raptors to do, they did the opposite. We expected their defense to be great. It just was not there today. But again, guys, I don't want to emphasize too much on the loss. It happens. We've seen it too many times as Raptors fans in game one. And that's not to discredit the 76ers who had a great game. Obviously, the Raptors will make some adjustment. Nick Nurse will make some adjustments. The referees had some terrible calls in the first half. But just overall, I think it seemed like anytime we went close to Joel Embiid, it was an automatic foul call. So it was just a really unfortunate game overall. Terrible game from the Raptors. They should be improving in the next game. So those are just some of the adjustments I think the Raptors need to do in order to win game two. But I do want to hear from you guys. What did you think of game one? I mean, your thoughts, obviously, it wasn't a great game from the Raptors, but what do you think some of the adjustments need to be made in order to win game two? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And I do have a trivia question for you today. And that trivia question is, how many players on the Raptors roster are not American? Is it A5? Is it B7? Is it C8? Or is it D9? So whoever answers this trivia question correctly in the comment section gets a shout out in my next video. So that will be it for today's video, guys. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have yourselves a great day.